done this or done that, you know, just give it a go.
Well, welcome back to Life Explored podcast, and with us for this episode we have Paul Oladele.
Yeah, I mean, we can go with that.
Did I pronounce it correctly?
Oladele.
Oladele.
Yes.
Oladele. Okay, that's is it Nigerian?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because
Nigerian.
I just noticed a lot of Oladeles online. There's actually like a Paul Oladele who is a some kind of preacher,
Really?
So if you Google, and it'll be like a lot of his YouTube videos and stuff will come up. Anyway, so Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So you currently work as a software engineer, and that is you're primarily working from home. That's right.
Yes,
And
that's
here in
correct.
Rugby
Yeah.
is it London-based company?
I'd like to say it's a London-based company, but well, I guess the official office is in London,
Right.
but it's only a handful of us that go in there.
Yeah. Prior to becoming a software developer, you had a career in education, head
Yes.
of mathematics at one point, and also a tutor.
Yes, that's
Correct.
correct. That is correct.
Bit
Yeah.
of a big jump from, big career move there. You also manage our social media for the podcast at current, right?
Yes, I do.
You've got a postgraduate certificate in mathematics, BSc.
Yes, in PGC for
Yeah.
teaching maths. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's correct.
A BSc in maths with statistics,
Yeah.
and you also have, you started off at Kent University with mathematics as your degree.
Yeah.
So you know a lot about maths, basically, right? A lot about numbers.
I guess so. I'm that way inclined, shall I say?
Married to Roberta.
Yeah.
You met Roberta at university, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. Was that which one was it?
That was at Staffordshire University. Yeah.
Staffordshire University. And you joined New Life Church here in Rugby a few years ago, but you pretty much moved and then you got married.
Yes, then I got
Straight
married.
away.
Then
Just
moved
like-
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't waste time. You also, I have done a little digging, and I understand you used to ride motorbikes.
Yes, I did used to ride motorbikes. Correct.
You also do a bit of boxing,
Yes.
is that right?
I did do a little bit of boxing.
And ballroom dancing
Yes, that's correct. And some ballroom and Latin dancing. Yeah.
and Latin dancing. Really, I mean we'll get into that. So we'll definitely talk about that. So what I want to ask you first of all is kind of maybe just to summarise your journey. So you've originally come from London, right?
Yeah.
And then you've moved up. You went up to Staffordshire for university, back down to London, then couldn't get enough of the Midlands and came back up.
No,
Is that right?
The journey's been London, then Kent, because my parents moved to Kent, so I was living there. Then I went to University of Kent for a year, and then I went up to Staffordshire University, and then moved back down to Kent, and then life has gone on a little bit, and then I moved to Rugby,
Yeah.
and then moved back down to Kent, and then moved back to Rugby again.
What made you choose rugby?
Honestly speaking, I was looking to get on the property ladder, and I was just looking for a place that was affordable. I didn't really know much about rugby at all, so it just happens to be that that's where I found the house that I wanted to buy at that time. But I did check in other places like Leicester, Wolverhampton, Loughborough. Yeah. But it was the house in Rugby that sort of brought me here. So, yeah.
Decided to make it around. You've been here before, but you visited rugby before.
I had never visited
No.
Rugby prior.
So it was really just a financial decision. It was just like, I'm just gonna make this my own. Don't know the people. Don't know. I don't know what it's gonna be like, but I'm just gonna.
I'm not too much of a fussy person or picky person.
No.
I feel like I can adapt to wherever you
Yeah.
were to put me in.
Yeah.
So
Cool. So let's talk about then your journey as a Christian. If you want to talk about your, your how you became a Christian, your faith.
yeah.
Yeah, and maybe just, a little bit about, uh, where what your journey's been up to this point.
Okay. So yeah, so my Christian journey, I guess I was brought up in a household that was, well, my mum was a Christian, my dad wasn't. But my mother sort of took me and my brother to church from a young age. So we've sort of been brought up in that way, although my dad wasn't really a Christian and he wouldn't maybe have the nicest things to say about the church. But that's sort of how I guess we start from a young age, and then as we got older, maybe I was going to like if you want to call it like the youth Sunday school, and yeah, and I was just sort of continually going to church from there. I never really, from a young age, I never really came out of the church. Even when I went to university, I continued going to. I joined the Christian Union, and then from there, I found a church in Staffordshire, which was quite cool actually to be around other young people that I didn't know about, but we all shared the same faith, and we done like a church crawl. So finding out about all the different churches in the area and then deciding which one to sort of go to. Yeah, but I'd say when I moved to Kent, probably around the age of 19 or 20 is when I sort of got baptized, and I chose to sort of if you want to say take my Christian life a little bit more seriously is what I would say. Making that decision to get baptized at a church called Net Church, and yeah, and I think for me, I'd probably say that's where my Christian journey properly began. From when I would probably say when I sort of became a little bit more aware of things and not just being a child and my mom taking me to church, and I just do that because that's just how I was brought up. But when I sort of took that decision into my own hands, yeah, probably around the age of 19, 20.
So
Church.
you had been in university by then, Kent.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got a question really about sort of I've got a question about, really about mathematics and sort of
Okay.
what that, what it was that led you to pursue mathematics.
What led me to pursue mathematics? To be honest, after I finished A levels, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. As many young people, they don't know necessarily what they want to do in life at that age. But it was just it was really my mom, because she was just like, well, you only seem to do good at maths, so go to university and study maths.
Do
Surely
that.
you can do something
Yeah.
good. You can get a good job at
Yeah.
some point. So yeah, that was at that
Right.
moment
That
in time
was,
the
so it
main
wasn't
reason
it
why.
wasn't necessarily a kind of a, you felt sort of inspired to, to understand and pursue that. It was just a case of like, well, I'm pretty good at it. I can do it.
Yeah,
And
because I actually wanted to work and do an apprenticeship after I finished
yeah,
A levels. That's what I wanted to
apprenticeship in teach,
just in anything really.
because you went into teaching, right? So how did that kind of come about?
Yeah. Well, what I'll say is I don't know. Is it like a well, the teaching department, should I say, at the university sort of came to the graduates. Well, we weren't graduates at that point,
Mm.
but they came to us at a certain point, and convince some of us to go into teaching.
So
That's what I'll
you're
say.
brainwashed into a cult, then, is what you're saying.
They're like, yes, it would be good to like give back. You work with young people
Mm-hmm.
and all of this good stuff. And so I just thought, you know what, I'll give it a go. It sounds good. It sounds interesting. And I'd in my head I sort of thought that, yeah, I think I'd like working with young people.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what sort of led me down the journey of doing my PGCE and then being a teacher for a handful of years. Yeah.
So what's the most misunderstood concept that you had to teach during that time when you were doing your teaching?
Mm, I would probably say um, I didn't think of, well, I'll say the needs of a lot of kids. Because I started off in a pupil referral unit. Um, yeah, that sort of opened my eyes to a lot of the needs of a lot of young people in this country. Um, I think it's like the Maslow hierarchy of needs. Like if you haven't got
Mm-hmm.
like your primary needs
Mm-hmm.
sorted out, then things like being in the classroom learning maths is not really a priority for those kids. Um, so
Surprisingly.
when they come to school, it's just a place where they can just release, shall I say? And yeah, so it opened my eyes to wow, that a lot of these young people, in regards to like working in the pupil referral unit, and not only working in the pupil referral unit, but you have those type of kids in the mainstream schools also. They need a stable foundation, which a lot of them don't get, and which is the reason why they behave or why they why they behave the way they behave, or the output of their behavior is as it is within the classroom, that we sometimes label as destructive or disruptive. Um, yeah, it opened my eyes. That's because I think once I experienced that, I sort of understood that I think I had a little bit of a sheltered life, and I didn't really know what sort of goes on behind closed doors in many homes
Mm.
in the UK, and made me appreciate my parents more and how sort of privileged I was to have the parents that I have. Um, yeah, I can't remember where this was going now, but honestly,
What age group was it you were teaching then? Was it
uh,
secondary school? It
yeah,
sounds like,
secondary
yeah,
school. Yeah,
dealing with a lot of
hmm
problems like that. Yeah.
yeah. I started in secondary school.
How did you find it then? Like, with like year 11 and stuff, because you would have been quite young
Yeah, I was a young teacher.
teacher.
Yeah, I was quite a young teacher. Um, it was good to begin with. It was something new, something to sort of master and be like, oh, I'm really gonna get good at this. And it was nice working with young people. There's always something new, something different every day that they bring, and they can always bring a smile they can always bring a smile to your face with what they do and how they behave at times. And it just, I feel like it almost made me like kind of like a parent in in a way, like for having my own kids. Like the amount of sort care, protection that you have over these kids, um, but you're limited to sort of what you can do, because at the end of the day, I'm just a maths teacher and I'm just there to teach them maths. And although things can be going on in their lives, I don't have the luxury to be able to speak about that or sit with them and talk about that, because I've got to teach the next class and the next class, and there's other kids that I've got to look at. So yeah, so that sort of made me a little bit disillusioned with teaching after a while, and I felt like, I don't want to just be here teaching these kids maths. I know obviously it's very, very crucial that they learn these skills, but there's also different needs that they have. And I always felt like I want to be able to tackle those other needs and work with young people in a different way rather than just being a maths teacher. Um, yeah, so that kind of made me disillusioned with teaching a little bit. I was just like,
So what was the jump then to software engineering? Because that doesn't necessarily sound
yes,
like
yeah.
a.
So there were sort of two things. One was that I was feeling disillusioned with teaching and how I could affect young people's lives. I know as a teacher you can affect young people's life even in the capacity that you have as a maths teacher, but I just felt I would prefer to do it in a different way. That's not necessarily teaching them maths. So, and then I had another thing where I thought, okay, I need to try to find a different thing to do in order to earn money. And I was looking for something a little bit more creativity, something that was a little bit more of a different challenge than the challenges of a classroom. Maybe a little bit more of a academic challenging work. So I spent some time. I spent maybe 4 months out of teaching, and just sort of spent about 4 months just sort of thinking about what it was next that I wanted to do. And so I made the decision that to go into programming or software development. And the funny thing is, I absolutely hated programming when I was at university. I specifically chose all the modules that didn't have any programming in them whatsoever. And I remember telling my mum that I was going to go in the software development sort of industry, and she was like, "What you're running away from in university is now what you're going to face." So I was just like, "Well, I guess so." And yeah, and I just software development and myself were just sort of glued quite nicely. It was just like a perfect fit for myself at that time in my life up till now.
Why do you think why did you run away from it, or why did you not want to get involved in it?
I just looked at it. I remember just when I was in the classroom, I was like, "What is all of this? Like, I don't get this. All of this looks like a headache to me. All this coding
Well, a
in
lot of people,
MATLAB and all
a
that."
lot of
And I was
people
just,
think that of maths, though, don't they? I mean,
I
there's a
guess
lot of
so.
people look at maths and go, "Well, I can't do maths, but I can do programming. I can do, software."
I don't.
Yeah.
I just thought it was complex
Yeah.
and cumbersome, and I was just like, "No, this is not what I need right now in my life." So
So this is what I'm interested in, is
Mm.
what kind of then changed in your mind to go into software engineering from that point, to go work with software.
um,
Other than, I know, sort of like the wanting to get out of teaching, obviously, but
there was another thing. Obviously, growing up, I loved playing video games, and I always thought, wouldn't it be quite cool to be able to
like every
create
young
video
boy,
games
yeah.
and all these things? So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so if I want to create video games, what am I going to have to learn, or
Mm.
what am I going to have to do? And that's when I saw that you need to be a programmer in order to make games. I was just like, okay. And it wasn't until I think it was just changing mindset. I think at that point in life when I was at university, I was just like, I don't know, coding to me was just, yeah, I just did not have any interest in it whatsoever. But maybe having that reason of, if you want to make games, then you're going to have to learn how to program. And I just gave it a go. And I just really enjoyed it. I loved it. And yeah, and it was happy days from there. Yeah, I love the challenge that it gave me, and I also love the creativity of creating your own piece of software, and how two people can try to create the same piece of software and do it in different ways. I love that sort of openness and creativity that it offers, is what I will say. So yeah, so that sort of also ticks my boxes in the right way. I think once I sat down and gave it a good go, and possibly also maybe the teachers that I had at university, maybe they didn't do a good job of convincing me it was a great thing to learn. But when I went on YouTube and I was having a look at these people that were teaching the programming, or it was specifically Java, and the way how they managed to teach it and get it across to me, it just made sense. It just clicked. It was simple. It was easy.
I think sadly a lot of, education is like that as well. It tends to be kind of like they're teaching you the method, but quite often they're not sort of giving you an explanation of what the utility of it is,
Yeah.
So, which is surprising because you being, such a, doing so much maths, but I find that right now, in studying, that it's kind of like you'll listen to these really boring lectures and they're talking about like, well, if you want to use this algorithm, you do it this way. And if you want to use this algorithm, and I'm sitting there thinking like, but when would I use these algorithms? What's the reason? All you're doing is filling my head with like, arrangements of numbers and maths, but it's not sinking in because I don't really have anything to hook it to.
Yes.
And it's so, you know what I mean? It's like the forest it's not seeing the forest for the trees kind of scenario. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of educational institutes miss out. They don't actually kind of plug it back into like, well, how does this apply to
real world
industrial setting and everything? And like you say, you go on YouTube and there's these guys who they're just like, well, here's how you use this, guys. Watch, we're just going to do it now. Unfortunately, I don't know what the solution is, but I really do think that some of the universities need to change their methods. Well, is there anything you've taken from your experience in the classroom into the software engineering practice?
Oh, I mean, one of the main things I'd say is definitely made me very, very patient, because you need a lot of patience when you're a teacher, and you need that exact same patience when you're working as a software developer. So patience is definitely one thing that I've taken from the classroom into software development. What else would I say? Maybe planning, sort of like planning how you're gonna build your piece of software, your architecture. In teaching, you do a lot of planning as to how you're going to teach the kids and the kids' different needs. So making sure that all the kids are they have the appropriate work that is set for them. So planning, I also took that from teaching into software development. What else? I'll probably say there'll probably be some other things, some other transferable skills. I guess communication is always something that always helps, and there's a lack of that with software engineers, because it's always screamed about how important soft skills is. You need to be good at your soft skills. It's always talked about all the time for software engineers.
It's not it's definitely not an area where I find DevOps excel is communication and soft skills. No.
Yeah. So
I think it just attracts that kind of type of person as well, who's very analytical and very focused on on things, on processes and things. And so again, that kind of person who's attracted to do that kind of work usually is not somebody who's got that EQ level, let's say.
Yeah.
Is there any aspects of teaching you miss?
I'd say the kids, really.
Yeah.
Just the life that the kids bring and the freshness that they bring. I sort of miss that. Something that I miss.
I want to go back to, swing back to mathematics
Hmm.
because it's an interesting field,
Yes, it is.
and to me, there's a lot of not only is it a useful thing for everybody to have, I really think it's a really important skill,
Hmm.
but there is a lot of there's a lot of mathematics within nature.
I think for me, as I've sort of grown more older and the experiences and works that I've done um, working as a programmer, yes, it does look as if this world is programmed and there
Mm.
is it 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 looks more and more obvious that this world is, if you want to say, programmed, should I
Mm.
say, and there is a programmer, which is, I guess, which is God. Um,
There are rules, aren't there? There's
yes,
rules of
yeah, yeah,
nature,
hmm,
and the thing about mathematics is we didn't invent mathematics; we discovered it,
yeah,
right?
hmm,
Because there are these mathematical equations. If if truly there was no rule sets to the universe and this kind of hidden, you know, mathematical language didn't exist, we wouldn't be able to send rockets to the moon. We
hmm,
wouldn't be able to launch satellites
yeah,
because we would not be able to calculate trajectories because it would just be random.
yes, yeah.
Let's talk about motorbikes then.
Mm.
Um, so do you own a motorbike now, or did you
I
own one?
I don't own one now. I did own quite a few
Yeah,
back in the days. Yeah, I owned maybe about four bikes, four bikes. But over the time, I've had maybe about six bikes. Yeah.
so because rugby's well known for its bike fest every year. Have
Yes,
you attended the bike
I
fest?
have attended the bike fest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Does
have.
Roberta like them or?
Yeah, I think she's quite open to motorbikes.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's definitely more inclined that way than some other people that are just like, no, 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 with
really
motorbikes.
noisy though.
Yeah, she'll definitely like to get on the back of one and
Hmm.
would be open for us doing a trip around
Yeah,
an
yeah.
area on one. So that's good.
Is there would there be a plan for you to buy another motorbike? What was your favorite model that you rode?
Oh, favorite model. Definitely on the road, the superbikes. Well, they're the
Well,
most, shall I say, well, I had a Kawasaki ZX-10R,
right.
which is it's just basically a super bike.
Yeah.
They feel very, very nice and planted on the road. So when you see people doing when you see people doing absurd speeds,
Mm,
the bikes are built for it.
yeah. Yeah.
So it feels very, very planted, but I'm not saying that no one should be speeding on the road, but yeah, I can definitely just attest to that. They feel very, 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 very nice
Yeah.
on the road as opposed to other bikes that are maybe a little bit more how should I describe them, more upright bikes, or that you sit on them you sit on them upright. So I've had those, and they're not the most comfortable. Even super bikes are not comfortable, but they feel very, very planted on the road. But those more so upright bikes, not that great with the wind, because you have the wind just coming bang on on your chest, so
Hmm.
you get tired quite quickly.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and then I've had off-road bikes. Now, off-road bikes, I love those because I just love going out and exploring places. So it's nice to just have them and you go on the byways and go down all these places. So I used to do it a lot when I was living back in Kent because it had many byways. So I used to go with a group of guys and yeah, we'll just go out for the day and just ride around.
How far have you travelled? Been to
Uh,
Europe?
no, I haven't been to Europe. I haven't been to Europe. It's just in England, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just in England.
Okay.
Those were fun
And
times.
yeah, yeah. So you see yourself buying a bike again?
Uh, if I was to buy a bike, it would be an off-road bike. Not necessarily another on-road bike,
Yeah.
just because, I'm a little bit more older now. I'm now married, and you know, uh, n- you have the risk of motorcycles being on the road and being hit and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I need to be a little bit more sensible, should I say? Um, so I don't know. I don't think get another I'd get another on-road bike that I'll be using regularly. But definitely an off-road one. I'll definitely get again. I'd like to get again. hmm
What about your boxing? Do you
Boxing.
is that, I take it, amateur sport, I
Yes,
guess?
I don't do too much now, just because again I'm a little bit older now, so I can't be getting punched up in the head and all my places because I don't repair as quick as I did when I was younger.
Did you used to do it when you were teaching?
Yeah, when I was teaching.
Did you ever sort of go to school, turn up at school then with a like a
No,
black
no,
eye or
no,
anything?
no,
No.
no. No, but the boxing did come in handy actually when I was working at the Pro. It
Right.
did come in handy in terms of being able to dodge punches
Right.
and shall I say apprehend kids in a way that they should be apprehended in
Oh my
case they're in
gosh.
danger to themselves or to other members of staff,
Oh my
and then we
goodness.
need to sort of secure them.
Yeah.
It helped in sort of that way, just being very very nimble on my feet and just having good reflexes.
So did you compete then, or was it
I,
amateur? What did you?
I've done a little bit of amateur, but I didn't really compete that much because it was when I was at university. So I had
Right.
to contend with doing that and my studies. And yeah, yeah, it was quite an intense time. And with boxing, you have to give it all. It demands everything from you. And if you can't really give that, then it's going to be a long time for you, especially when you get in the ring and you go in against someone that has given it their all. Yeah, but I absolutely loved boxing. I loved everything about it. The discipline,
Mm-hmm.
the coach. You like having the coach and all the other boxers is like a brotherhood, and yeah, I absolutely love that. And again, gives you the opportunity to work with young people there. Also, when I was at Staffordshire, I'd done a course. I can't remember. It was like a course to be like a boxing tutor, and then you work with the younger ones.
Mm.
And some of these kids were like the rough kids on the
Mm-hmm.
streets, so they would come to the boxing club. So you would do some lessons with them and get to work with them in that aspect. Um, yeah, so I really, really appreciated what it did in the community. Yeah, is what I say. I really, really appreciated it. Just getting some of the kids off the street and
Mm-hmm.
into the club, and just giving them that sort of discipline, that sort of male role model. Um, yeah, it was just excellent. It was just great. It was great. Mhm.
And then the ballroom dancing, right?
Yeah,
So how did you get into that?
yeah.
Or
So I was doing ballroom dancing before I went into boxing.
right.
Um, yeah. So how I got into ballroom dancing, that was when I was living back in Kent, and
So that was
uh,
before you met Roberta as well.
yeah, that was before I met Roberta. I was just watching Strictly Come Dancing, and something clicked
It's-
in it with me that, you know what, go and give that a try. and
Wow.
and I just told my mum one day I want to go to the dancing school, and she was just like, okay.
Okay.
So she was taking me down to a dancing school it was called Margaret Preedy's Dancing School in Maidstone, and I started to dance and I loved it. I know a lot of people say it's just so random, but I don't know, just the way how I operate
Well, yeah.
and do things.
So, did you sort of when you met
Hmm.
Roberta or when you started dating Roberta, did you take her dancing and sort of surprise her with your moves or
Uh, she had like a house get together
yeah,
with like the Christian Union, and apparently I was teaching them to do a little bit of salsa. I was doing some salsa, teaching them how to do
yeah?
salsa moves. And there might be some video recording and pictures of me doing that actually. But yeah, but I didn't do. I wasn't sort of doing dancing when I got to university again,
Mm.
and that's why I picked up boxing. So I sort of finished with dancing when I came to university. Although when I moved back down, I did do a little bit of dancing again, but not like how I was doing it prior.
So, so I think it's really interesting how you've gone from you know what I've seen and what you've explained is kind of like this kind of random pattern of like just go it's like gone from a teacher to a software engineer, then a biker to boxing to ballroom dance or from ballroom dancing to then
Hmm.
boxing.
Hmm.
um and I'd be interested to know what is it do you think is the core of that that person Paul let me say this again, Oladele.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Paul Oladele. What is the core of Paul Oladele,
Hmm.
which drives you to just these different pursuits and sometimes in a bit of a you know sort of extreme ends of things. I suppose it's not so extreme, but it is a bit of a weird jump.
Yes, it is a bit of a weird jump, but I don't know. I mean, in short, all I can say is that um, I like what I like, really.
Just like
And it's just that I like what I
you're
like.
just like, oh, I like look at that. I'll just try it. Is that what it is?
Yeah, yeah, and that's I'm pretty much am. And then when I get into something, I really give it my all when I get
Hmm.
into it. So when I was doing the ballroom and Latin dancing, I thought that I was gonna, work as a dance teacher, and I was sort of aiming to like um, be one of the dance teachers on Strictly Come Dancing. And I never had any doubt in my mind that that's what I was going to do. Um, but then, yeah, then I stopped doing it. But I stopped doing it. The only reason why I really stopped doing dancing was just because I had a bad experience with with one of my dance partners, and yeah, it just kind of put me off. Um, yeah, it sort of put me off. I didn't like. I mean, I like to take things serious, but some other people's idea of seriousness, and then when maybe you do the wrong step, they get very, very fiery and
Right.
annoyed, and then that really put me off.
And then you went
Um,
into boxing
yeah.
after that because because
Yeah,
you wanted
yeah.
something a bit more relaxing.
Yeah, it just, yeah. So that sort of put me off dancing, and I didn't know that because I did look for a dance school when I went to Staffordshire, but
Hmm.
I didn't really find anywhere. And then it was from going to one of the churches. One of the young people there was like, "Oh, we go to the boxing club. You should come with
Yeah.
us." And I said, "Okay, why not?"
I'll just try out.
And I gave it a try, and I really liked it, and I chose to pursue that for the amount of time that I was there at university. I tried to take it very, very serious, and 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 yeah. And then when I moved back down to Kent, I still continued doing the boxing, I joined the local boxing club up in Sittingbourne, and I continued there. But it was just getting a little bit hard doing that and working full time as a teacher, you know.
And not wanting to turn up at school with a black eye or something, and have the kids all kind of like, oh, teacher says not to fight.
So there's a lot of things that you take into consideration. I even remember when I was up in Stafford and I was doing my teacher training year, actually, one of the students, it was actually a female student that was in the school that I was teaching at. I had actually sparred with her.
Oh yeah.
So I remember seeing her in the classroom. I was like, wait a minute, wasn't I punching you the other day? Yeah, and so that was kind of strange, but yeah, we both laughed about it. But yeah, I remember there was a police officer that was running the boxing club, and he trained the girls, and he got me to come. Maybe I was going to have a bout at that time. So the training sessions that he was doing on the Saturday or whatever, he got me to go to it too. And some of the girls were going to have bouts too. So he put me in the ring with them, and so it's like, oh, just, do a little bit of sparring, don't hurt them. But yeah, but some of those girls are vicious.
Yeah.
They are very, very vicious.
Yeah.
But yeah, but to me, when I look back, I don't really see it as random. I see it as there was a choice that was made. I made that choice and I executed it and I just went for it at that time. I was just like, whatever I sort of liked, if I liked something, then I'll just do it. Yeah, I didn't have any sort of, do you want to say any, like there's some people that might sort of think, like when I went into ballroom and Latin dancing, I was like one of a few black people there.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might find that intimidating, but for me it was just, I like to dance, so I went there and danced. I didn't look at anything there. I was just looking at what I was doing and having a good time. And yeah, but I can definitely see that some people would find that intimidating. And I remember I got called a few names by some friends when I was younger, like doing that sort of dancing, moving your hips and all that. Like right. A lot of men will be like, sure, what's wrong with this guy that's doing all that? Yeah. Is he not telling us something? but it was just what I like, and that's what I just chose to do because I liked it. And at that point in time, if I liked something, nothing was really going to stop me from doing what I wanted to do, irrespective of what other people thought.
That's a good. That is a good way to look at it. Actually, what would you say to someone who's considering either they're considering doing something but they're a bit too worried about it being embarrassing, or maybe taking that career leap, and kind of they want to do something and it's just different from what they're doing now, but sort of nervous about it or fearful?
I mean, I would only say, well, everyone is different and some people's brains are wired up differently. Mm-hmm. So some people don't necessarily think too much about what other people are going to think because they're just wired that way. Other people might think they might be a little bit apprehensive of what others might think. But I think the main thing people have got to understand is that they only have one life, and you don't want to live a life full of regrets and thinking that, what about if I'd have done this or done that, Mm-hmm. Just give it a go. You only live once, and this is the life that you have been given. So don't waste it. If you want to try something, go ahead and give it a try. You never know what's going to come out of it. And at least you can say that you gave it a go and you tried, and there's no regrets there. There will only be regrets if you don't give it a go and you don't try, and then in the future you think, I wish I'd have done that, or what would have happened if I did do that, you know. So yeah, you only live once. You have nothing to sort of lose. So do it. Is what I'll just say. Just sort of do it.
Are there any of these sort of, these kind of decisions you've made and or the paths you've kind of followed? Are there any times where you felt like, specifically that, it was God had called you into that, or were there any times where you felt like God was calling you out of something?
I can't say specifically that God necessarily called me into, or I don't want to say that it was God that called me
Mm.
to do this or to do
Mm.
that. But what I'll say is that I've learned many things from all the different things that I have done. I don't know what would have happened to me if I didn't maybe do some of the things that I didn't do, if I wasn't in dancing at that point in time in my life. I don't know what else I would have done, what I'd have gotten up to. All these things have been, I'll definitely say they've made a positive impact in my life. They've definitely been, they've definitely added to my life, shall I say. Yeah, is what I will say. I mean, one of the main things is just working with people. Um, yeah, it, well, there's a lot that we could go into actually, because one of my sort of pastimes or my favorite thing to do before getting into dancing was just staying at home and playing video games, specifically a game called World of Warcraft. So, so yeah, so I wasn't really going to amount to much in life if I didn't leave my room. So looking back at it now, maybe I can say that, yeah, I think God wanted me to get out of the house and to actually
Yeah.
live life and go
Yeah.
out and do something and be exposed to human beings.
Well, that's interesting, right? I'm
Mm,
really that is an interesting kind of pivot because I think especially in the younger generations we're seeing
mm,
now, and I know in particular at least one young person who spends all their time in their bedroom playing computer games or on
mm,
their phone or just not socializing.
mm.
And um, I'm wondering what was that spark for you that sort of said, okay, I need to get out and do some ballroom dancing or well, I mean, you kind of mentioned already you sort of saw it on TV, but
Yeah.
you know, there was a point which you must have
Mm.
felt like I need to get I'm too comfortable here, or
No, I guess, and when I think about it, it was going into ballroom dancing from what I was doing because my whole life up until then was just playing video games online with my friends. That's what my life was. So for me to go from that to ballroom dancing, I can only think that it must have been God, because now that I'm thinking back at it, it's just so that to me
random.
is just something so different
Mm,
that just doesn't make much sense in my
mm,
head at all,
mm,
if I'm being honest.
mm,
I wouldn't be able to explain to you why and how. And for me to even have that sort of confidence to even do that, going from someone that's just online in their game to my mom telling me that I'm addicted to this video game and having to come to terms with and taking away the keyboard and all these things. And it's, I can't really say how. I
yeah.
just switched and went into ballroom
They must
dancing
have just
out of all
wondered,
things.
your parents must have just kind of like just couldn't believe what you did next. It's like, oh my goodness, you know,
Yeah, now that I think about it, yeah,
yeah.
I don't know what was the big thing that just changed me like that, because it's so different. And even me, I wouldn't think that someone that is just in their house playing video games would just one day just go and start doing Burma Latin dancing out of nowhere. Um, yeah.
So what's the most um, wackiest or unhinged thing that you haven't done yet that you kind of got on your mind you'd like to do next? And don't tell me it's nothing, because I just cannot believe that you would not have in your head.
You know, probably one thing is I'd probably like to do a little bit more traveling to other countries. I haven't really done much of that just because I don't know, I just have it in my head it's about this thing about taking planes and being a little bit scared of flying in planes. But I think being married to Roberta, I'm not going to really have much of a choice but to do that. But I want to do that also. I'd like to visit different countries. Yeah, so I wouldn't really say like the wackiest thing because I just usually tend to do things that I want to do in a way. So if I want to do something, I would do it. Yeah.
If your life had chapter titles, what would be the current title? What would that be called?
Say that again.
If your life had chapter titles in a book or a movie, maybe what would your current chapter be called?
My current chapter. So this is a chapter that I'm married. I'm working. I think I'd call this chapter a little bit of hibernation actually. Or sort of like maybe a little bit of a rest period before a massive explosion. Shall I say? Because I feel like but I'm just sort of me and Roberta are probably going through a rest period now, and soon enough we're going to explode into a lovely, beautiful flower. Yeah, if I could have like a if I could say like a picture, there's like a plant pot, and we're there as a seed, as a plant, and we're growing little, and soon we're gonna sort of come out of the ground and the soil and just shoot up soon. I don't know how to quantify that as a chapter.
Is there anything else I kind of haven't asked you about?
No, I mean, I think that's pretty much the weird and wacky journey of Paul Oladele so far. And hopefully there'll be a lot more wacky stuff to come.
I think so. I'm definitely expecting that. I think I've learned quite a few things about you I didn't know. So,
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to ask you then what we always ask. If you rock up to the pearly gates of heaven, St. Peter hands you a disposable camera, what's the first picture you're taking?
If he gives me a camera, what's the first
Disposable
picture?
camera.
What's the first picture that I'm taking? I'll probably take a picture of what? So taking a picture in heaven.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm there by myself and there's none of my friends or family there, then I'll probably take a selfie or I don't know what
Not
picture.
your friends and family there.
I mean, well, no, I would hope that my friends and family there. But what I'm saying is that I don't wish on them to die or,
Well,
to be there. But yeah, I guess I'll try to find my friends and family and we can take a lovely picture together, shall I say.
Great. Group photo with a fan.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We made it, yeah.
It was a pleasure chatting with you, Paul.
Thank you, Wes.
Very enlightening, very interesting journey. I think a lot of people can take away from that. Well, thanks for joining us once again and listening to that podcast episode. We hope you enjoyed the content. And if you haven't already, subscribe, whichever platform you're listening on or watching from. And we'll catch you again for the next episode of Life Explored.